Heyo everyone.
Heyo.
This is just a random fucking video we just decided to do.
Record, yeah.
It's ranty. We're just talking out the ass. If you watch it, great. If you don't, you got other options.
All right, thanks.
Heyo
TCB faithful. This is the final boosh.
And this is Madhouse.
And why you darking my doorway this time, man?
So I just woke up. And I was just, getting ready for work and strolling YouTube.
Yeah.
Just figure out what I can watch.
Yeah.
And then I seen this video with like Brian F and Max, and they're talking about why views are low on fighting games.
You mean like tournament views?
I guess across the board, tournament, YouTube, stuff like that.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I'm assuming so. I don't pay attention to tournaments.
All the people I watch have good views on their fighting game videos.
I mean, except us.
It's not a. Well, we're small.
It's
I'm not worried about
it. It's a joke.
Okay,
It's a joke. But it's just the fact that
I know how sour you can get.
I guess we could always just talk about that, but we can talk about like the fighting games in general, or why we think like our take on why we think views are so low.
Well, this isn't going to be a complex video.
No, it's not. But we gonna shoot the shit, man. Like
we've been all right. So you seen this video, right?
Yeah.
So have I'm pretty sure this is the part of the game now. This is the part of the generation, this current generation of fighting games. This is the period where everybody's hopping on the bandwagon now that fighting games are the same repetitive sequence over and over again.
These laboratory games.
How they don't have any depth. We've been saying this since the channel started.
We have been.
And the channel started like a little bit before Street Fighter 6 came out, correct?
It either started a little bit before Street Fighter 6, or for some reason I keep thinking we started during a beta of Street Fighter 6. I don't remember.
We were probably working on our first video during that time. I don't know. It's been 3 years. Our channel's been around for like 2.25. So yeah, now like you can look throughout our library of videos, and we're always bringing up how fighting games feel like a stiff shirt nowadays, how they're not programmed to be fun, how they're programmed to be spectator games first and actually have engaging gameplay second. All this stuff. It only got worse since our channel came out.
It only got worse. It got significantly worse.
Remember back in the day when the worst we got was Street Fighter 5?
And Street Fighter 5 didn't even end that bad.
Street Fighter 5 launched like garbage, but at the end of the day, we're not talking about season 1 Street Fighter 5. We're talking about in-game Street Fighter 5. And I think in-game Street Fighter 5 is a pretty damn solid game.
So it's various reasons where we could say why fighting games are kind of suffering right now. Like, for example, like fighting games not being designed by fighting games being designed by fighting game players, I think is a bad thing, personally. If that makes sense to you.
I don't see how, because Street Fighter 5, going back to Street Fighter 5, that was designed by a fighting game player.
Yeah, and that wasn't the best thing for the game either.
I mean, so you think they should be designed for?
Because you gotta think about it.
By developers?
You gotta think about it. You know why I keep calling like old games like the Wild West?
No, I get it. I understand, but maybe you should explain it for the people.
Like for example, Max used the example of Third Strike.
Okay.
So
I mean, I'm not a big giant fan of Third Strike.
Yeah, but I think you don't like Third Strike because it comes down to a lot of ignorance.
I don't think it's a very fun game, but I respect it for what it is. I just don't think it's a very fun game to play, but that's me.
All right, we could be like Dark Side Phil and mention Street Fighter 2.
But go ahead, do your little Wild West allegory thing.
All right, so it's like back in the day, fighting games were designed by the seat of their pants.
Yeah.
They just put it on paper and see what worked, okay? Sometimes it didn't, sometimes it did. But most of the time, it was a relatively fun experience if the game wasn't broken as shit. That's where the other versions of the games come from. Street Fighter 3, yeah, they were made by Capcom, who made plenty of fighting games up to this point. But fighting games still didn't have a
locked-in code.
A locked-in code.
A DNA.
Street Fighter did what Street Fighter did because that's how they felt at the time.
Yeah, they wasn't
doing it. Yeah, they were doing it to gain new people with the new characters. But that was just them trying to be different, you know?
Yeah.
That was them trying to be different. But back in the day when Street Fighter 3 came out, they weren't explicitly saying, we want to build this game for hardcore fighting game players. They didn't give a shit about that.
No, they just kind of made characters and system mechanics they thought was cool.
They wanted to make a cool game.
I'm sure some of that came down to balance and things like that. I'm not saying all that shit didn't exist.
No, of course it did. So we want to have a million versions of Street Fighter 2.
And that's one of the main things that surprised me when we started the channel and started looking back at these older games, is the fact that a lot of these games are intentionally designed. Like Breakers surprised me about how intentionally designed. You know what game was super surprised me?
Sailor Moon.
Survival Arts.
Oh, what?
for how janky Survival Arts look, it is a surprisingly, I don't want to say solid.
We're gonna put up Survival Arts and plug in the Mash Masters.
It's a shockingly jank looking game.
It's janky.
Okay, it's a very jank looking game. But some of the design philosophies of that game is very intentional, and that's what surprised me, and that would kind of open my eyes to things like, oh well, what if Omen of Sorrow isn't as bad as everybody makes it out to be? That's not specifically an old game, but just like with the upcoming run back with Blazing Strike. What if Blazing Strike isn't as bad as everybody says it is? I see a lot of people who post combos on that game and say this is an infinite, but they don't.
Yeah, but don't the game have
a combo breaker?
Yeah.
So it's not an infinite. It's not an infinite at all. But
Can you do that during Headstone?
Yes.
The run parry?
Run parry is the game's combo breaker.
But it's not handed to you though.
As long as you got the execution for it, you can break combos. That's why the game prioritizes launches. And this is why I think, and we'll go into it in the video, I think some characters are actually like who I thought was good at first are probably going to be low tier. But yeah, the game prioritizes launches because you can't rush parry if you're in the air.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a makeshift DOA style thing where you can parry anything on the ground on DOA, but you can't. But the whole idea is to weaken them and mix them up enough to launch them in the air. Other than that, you're kind of playing safe. You're kind of poking around.
Until your time.
Yeah, but all that can be explained in the video. I'm just showing the example of how like
even newer games
kind of have that. Oh well, it looks jank, but there's a reason behind it.
So to like
that's not me defending Blazing Strike, but I'm just saying.
To like narrow this down, right? Let's go to our tried and true Street Fighter 6. Okay. The reason why games like Street Fighter 6 isn't getting the viewership they're supposed to, at least it fell off steeply, at least about its point.
I don't know. I don't follow
FGC shit because I think it's cancer.
I don't specifically. It's not FGC shit. It's esports.
Whatever. I found it's all the same thing.
And I keep no, it's not because the FGC is the fighting game community. You're part of the FGC. You making this video makes you part of the FGC as a lark. The fighting game community is what it is. The fighting game community. That's all encompassing. If you play any kind of fighting game, I don't care if it's a platform fighter, I don't care if it's a traditional fighter, I don't care if it's an arena fighter.
It's just hams, Marge.
If it had, they're just hams. Thank you. They're just hams, Marge. And they're all the same thing. We ideally, in my ideal world, there is no some game is better than the other. They're all fighting games. But for some reason, like, oh well, Street Fighter has to be the deleting one on this charge, and that's fine. But why can't Smash Brothers or platform fighters in general be recognized as fighting games?
I look at Street Fighter and like, well, first let's be did up as MK. But I look at Street Fighter as a locker room leader.
Yeah, that's the Undertaker.
Yeah, it's the Undertaker.
Going to the wrestling court, brother. The gayest thing wrestlers ever done. Carrying my bags for tissues. Good.
But moving back to Street Fighter 6. The reason why I think that game's suffering in terms of, I guess, like overall viewership is because there's no, like we kept saying from the very beginning, there's no nuance in SF6.
How is the game is 3 years old? Are you telling me people aren't bored of low forward drive rush, fireball drive rush?
Every combo feel the same because it's all drive
impact.
It's all the same.
Is nobody not bored of that shit after 3 years? It's the same interaction, and
that's why you can't get excited for characters like Alex, because Alex, yeah, he looks good on paper, but he's gonna come out and play the exact same way everybody else.
Street Fighter 6 is one of the greatest psyops in fighting games. It is, because it fools people. It fools people into thinking it's a competent product. I'm not robbing it of that. But what I'm saying is,
it's a competent product, but a shitty fight.
What I'm saying is, it's the biggest smokescreen I've ever seen. The game looks pretty. The game kind of plays well when you don't think about it, and you just kind of play it with your friends, and it's an okay game in small bursts. But if you go deep in the game, there's nothing there. It's soulless.
You see, because during the video, Max used an example of like how you don't see crazy shit no more. Everything is canned, everything is pre-planned. Laboratory games is what I call it.
Yeah, no shit.
So it was like this. Like, how can you get hype off AD665?
What?
Just a random name.
Okay.
How can you get hype off tournament player AD665, right? When you could do exactly what AD665 can do with the same amount of practice as him.
Well, one of the things I always like to say, and you've been around during my time, because we had a hard time learning Street Fighter 4. We're 09ers, I guess, essentially, right?
Yeah.
We're old school, but we're 09ers.
We've been playing fighting games before Street Fighter 4.
I think a lot of people were, but we didn't start taking them seriously till around the Street Fighter 4 era.
So like a kind of heart.
Yeah, like a kind of heart, that kind of thing. We had a difficult time learning links in Street Fighter 4. That didn't stop us from playing the game. That didn't stop us from having fun. And one of the most fun times I had was watching tournaments, because that game had expression. That game had a show of execution that makes you actually hyped to play the game. And the game and players, while not the characters might not have multiple faceted ways, the players can bring multiple faceted ways on how to approach with that character that you've never seen before.
Because of how nuanced the system is.
Yeah, you get things like the Akuma, what was it? The Ryu,
evil Ryu Infinite.
No, the Ryu Rufus thing, where the Ryu was a scrub and they kept DPing him the Rufus over and over again.
Oh yeah, but that because invincible DPs were invincible.
But my point is, one of the best examples of
that's one of the best changes Street Fighter 5 made.
You know, most part I play Chun-Li in most fighting games.
Yeah,
and one of the top players I used to watch all the time was Broly Legs, I guess RIP. And Broly Legs opened my eyes to what Street Fighter 4, the potential of what Street Fighter 4 is if you put practice in. And that nigga was playing with his fucking mouth. So there's no excuses for me. So then I knuckled down and I was doing like lightning leg loops on pad, because I was motivated enough, because I see him do something.
Motivated.
I see him do something, especially with his disability, I had no excuse of, and it was impressive to watch, and it encouraged me to further study the game further to get better to his level.
And it still took us across Tekken.
Yeah, but I mean, sometimes it takes a little longer. So not everything's gonna click for everybody. And
just in case you don't know, cross Tekken lesson, like links became 1 frame to 3 frames. I think
they still had 1 framers, but it was enough of that gap in there to kind of help you. It was enough of the gap in Street Fighter Cross Tekken. The ease of execution was enough to kind of work us into how links worked in Street Fighter.
And then, we came back to Street Fighter 4. Knowledge.
And then we came back, and Street Fighter 4 was a new game to us.
It was a completely new game. Mind you, by the time Cross Tekken came out, Street Fighter was out for like
a while,
5-6 years at that point.
It was before Ultra, so it was definitely on this last thing before Ultra.
So it was out for a while by that point. Yeah. It was like, this is the shit we're talking about.
But yeah, like tournaments used to be so fun to watch because it brought so many players. And yeah, some of those guys are like generic guys, but whatever. But we're not talking about those. We're talking about like the Taquitos and all those other guys, like their Daigos and all these guys. Like Daigo's not like a super like, oh, amazing, impressive player when it comes to like things, but he was tight, and that inspired you if you were a Ryu player. Like I said,
well, to me, like I said, Daigo wasn't the Kenga personality.
No,
but his personality showed through his gameplay. Playing with the most basic fucking character like Ryu.
Yeah, and it kind of matched, and it gave him the identity as the Ryu guy.
Like when I think of Ryu, I think of Daigo.
Yeah, and then like I said, like there's plenty of like once again Chun-Li players. There's plenty of Chun-Li players, but Broly Legs was the one that was like, wow, you can do all that, and I'm over here complaining about links when this guy's playing with his fucking mouth. I need to do better, and that's what I did, and that's because I was shown a style of play I was never a style of play or a style of execution that I was never privy to.
See, it was roundabout. We got there.
Yeah. So now we look at tournaments today. Joey Sneakers 218 can do the same thing I'm doing. There's nothing impressive about guessing a 12 frame armored move. It's not 12 frames, but you know what I mean.
Well, that's because Street Fighter 6 is mostly just rock, paper, scissors.
But yeah,
Tekken 8 is mostly just rock, paper, scissors.
Guessing is not a show of execution. I barely call guessing a show of decision making. It's guessing.
And I know people are not gonna like it, but I'm gonna say it again. This is why I keep saying that MK1 is kind of still good in that aspect of being a fighting game. Yes, did they fuck up the game in general? Yes. Almost entirely every facet of MK1 was fucked up.
You know me, I can't stop complaining about MK1. There's things I don't like about MK1. I don't like the strings. I don't like that you have to write. I don't like how you have to do your assist and then you technically just sit there and wait for the recharge. I hate that. I hate up block to a certain extent. I don't like hate it as much as most people. I understand the logic of up block, but it does get rid of anti-air in a more significant way because you get 30% off of up block. What's the point of anti-air? There's no jab anti-airs. You can't like stuff like that. There's little issues that I don't like about MK1, and there's things I like about MK11. But once again, I keep saying that fighting games aren't supposed to be designed for everybody.
But my point was,
I'm sorry. Yeah,
my point that I was trying to make was,
you got to reel me in when I do that.
MK1 is still rather nuanced. It's not.
Yeah,
it's not. it's not. I'm not talking about nuance as in you do everything, but it's nuance as in there are scramble situations. It's nuance as in everything is not completely planned out.
I get what you mean. It's not as nuanced as you think it is.
I'm not saying it's super nuanced. I'm not saying it's as nuanced as MK9. No,
but
it's not.
I guess if you're comparing it in a bubble compared to what's currently out, then yes, I guess I can agree that it is still an element of skill, expression.
You can tell if it's fucking sick Andrew. I cannot tell. For example, Sonic Soul Cammy, somebody else's Cammy that's comparable to Sonic Soul. You can't tell the difference because they all do the same thing. Or somebody Kazuya versus another person Kazuya. Tekken is supposed to be the game of nuance.
Not Tekken 8.
No, in general. Tekken is supposed to be, there's so many strings, so many different ways to play the game. And Tekken is supposed to be the game of nuance. And you can't tell two Kazuyas apart. Not in Tekken 8.
No, not in Tekken 8, yes.
But, like it or not, MK1, I can tell who Sikander is. I can tell the difference between Sikander and Tom.
It's not the most popular answer, but...
It's not the most popular answer, but you can. Playstyle, assist, and like it's still... The sheer incompetence of NRS still lent to a good fighting game.
But a lot of people call MK11 Mortal Kombat Street Fighter 5, where I think MK1 is Mortal Kombat Street Fighter 5.
There's aspects I don't like the MK11 either.
None of those games perfect. The only game that actually did anything right and combined the community all together was MKX. After that, MK11 and MK1 explicitly came in with the purpose of being esports fighters. And when you become an esports fighter, like I would never understand this logic, right? It's like why would you create? Okay, so the idea of esports is to make games competitive fighting games, like I don't want to say an Olympic sport, like an event, like a Super Bowl or your wrestling pay-per-views or something like that, right? But I would never get the idea of, okay, we want to design this game to be competitive, so we take out any competitive element that was in the game. That doesn't make any sense. Does that make sense to you?
So Shoelace 222 can play.
Okay, but I get that. But once again, not everything is designed for everybody.
You like these AI generated usernames?
Like, if Sneakers O'Toole can run into if he can go run track because they made it a scram, like, oh well, it's not about skill anymore. I don't know how can you dumb down track, but maybe you make it an inch.
Maybe give everybody hillies.
Maybe no. Well, what's the one thing you put everybody in the same moving motorcycle and you say go race? I guess after that it comes down to a game of inches. It comes down to how much you weigh, right? It just comes down to like what I'm saying is
to your point, man.
What I'm saying is I would never understand the idea of you want to make something competitive and put it on a grand stage or give it a grand stage to be looked at as some kind of spectacle of skill, execution, expression, design, that kind of thing. And then you explicitly design your games in a way to make them retarded.
Well, you gotta think about it. Back then, fighting game tournaments for the cream of the crop, right? Nowadays, you just hostage rock paper scissors.
Right, and that's what it is. If you just want to play fucking fight club style rock paper scissors where you're pushing each other to a corner and you like, all right, let's do rock paper scissors, then fine. But I would never understand dumbing something down if you want it to be more competitive. I'm not saying it has to be even more complicated, but since fighting games has went to this esports direction, it's been all about dumbing shit down. It's been all about expressionless gameplay, bottlenecking gameplay to a binary choices. It's just been all of that. And I'm not saying it's all bad, right? The technology we got over the time, replay takeover, rollback being more dominant, accessibility options, like helping people who probably wouldn't be able to play fighting games in the correct way, maybe because of a birth defect or an injury, and they can compete a little more because of accessibility options. And I know you hate modded controls in Street Fighter 6, but I think it's a truly innovative idea to help people who have those kind of afflictions compete in those kind of games, or at least have a chance to play a genre that they like.
Yeah, but my beef with the modded controls isn't the fact that they, help out people. They're supposed to. My beef with the modded controls is the fact that they dumbed down game first.
It's not going to be perfect, right? It's not I think it's a very good idea.
They had to figure out a way to make these accessible without giving them the overwhelming advantage.
And then you got things like, hitboxes and that's fucking things up. Like it's a very weird time, but I hate Street Fighter 6. I think Street Fighter 6 is a dog shit fighting game. It is a great product. It is a dog shit fighting game.
Tekken 8 too.
But in Street Fighter 6 specifically, I will always respect modern controls for the idea of them. They might not be executed at the best way, but I get what they're going for. And that's the kind of innovations I think modern fighting games should bring. What fighting games should have never been was dumped down or designed for everybody. Because when you design something for everybody, you design something for nobody. And Tekken 8 is designed for nobody. Yes, you can say it's designed for casuals. Fine, designed for casuals. But what's casual, like in a large scheme of things? Nobody.
Well, casual is Biden Blast 07.
Well, no, but what I mean is, what's casual, like in a metaphysical sense?
Casual to me is casual to me, and I know it's gonna sound mean. Casual to me is what you call a spectator, as in a tourist. That's a casual.
I think we're casual.
No, I didn't mean to say like that.
I know we're not. We're more hardcore than casual.
What I'm trying to say is a casual to me is a tourist. Somebody who like come play the game
every once in a while, come in for some DLC.
Yeah, shit like that. Don't really get into the game tourists.
But that's not really what I mean.
The problem is they design a game for tourists now.
That's not what I would mean though. What I mean is on my concept of you design something for nobody, but like what's a casual? When you design something for hardcore,
you know what you're going.
It's an explicit design. Like that. Once again, that doesn't mean your game has to be difficult. I'm not saying games need to be difficult. What I'm saying is all the fun of fighting games are gone because they have to design it for everyone. It just can't be, this is the Third Strike camp, this is the Breaker's Revenge camp, this is the World Fighters Dynamite, whatever it is, World Heroes, whatever. It just can't be these kind of camps. It has to be fucking, oh, well, this is Street Fighter 6. It has to be designed for everybody. Let's consolidate everything into a couple of things and call it a day. Oh, this is Tekken 8. The game that's supposed to be all like about options. Let's consolidate everything into a couple things and make it about guessing and call it a day. Like they're all the same fighting game.
Except MK1, ironically.
So, I mean, what's the fun? Like fighting games used to be different worlds. And this is why I respected the genre more than most, because you're walking into a different world. Everybody got different rules. Saturn is not going to be the same as Neptune, right?
Street Fighter camp, you might not have to wipe your feet, but MK camp, you might have to wipe your feet.
Like I said, Saturn
use a coaster.
Saturn is not the same as Neptune, and that used to be the rules, but now everything is just Earth, and it's boring. And if Earth means like I have to guess 50-50s all day, and
it's not like you guessing 50-50s, characters not built with like play in mind, it's the same flowchart shit every 40 seconds. Look at Viper and Street Fighter 6.
And we talked about,
look at fucking anybody in Tekken 8. Even MK1 suffers from that problem. And it's like it didn't got games die for no reason, like City of the Wolves, and well, DOA 6. We talked about, Soul Calibur 6. Games die for like no fucking reason because quote they're not popular enough. Like it's just stupid.
And we talk about the tribalism. No, but that's fine. Like I don't mind.
And mind you, I'm not sure how long you want this to be.
I don't mind games having different like popularity levels. You can't help that. Street Fighter is the main known name. Mortal Kombat's a main known name. Tekken nowadays is a mainstream name when it comes to 3D fighters. Like it's always been, but what I mean is it's like solidified now, right?
Yeah.
So
it happened like Tekken 7.
Yeah, around Tekken 7. Yeah. So my problem is the tribalistic behavior, like we kind of touched on with the City of the Woods video. It's just tribalistic. I can understand not liking something. I can understand that. But like to say like it's shit because it doesn't play like your game, and like I said, maybe this has always been the case, it's always been around, but now it just seems like it's malicious.
And now we got these content creators finally catching up to what we was talking about. Just because we're a younger channel, like people didn't listen, but this is what we were talking about. Now we got Max and shit saying, well, they're not getting views because the same shit we've been saying from the beginning. But where were y'all during this time when it was active? You should have said this shit 2 or 3 years earlier.
I think if I understand they got families to feed, and I'm not like saying they're wrong for, well, I mean, bootlicking, let's call it what it is.
It's bootlicking.
I'm not saying they're wrong for bootlicking. They got families. I hate that it's my genre that has to be bastardized because you don't.
No, it's more than just fighting games, bro.
I know, but I'm centralizing it to fighting games right now. And I hate that my genre, my fun with the genre has to be sacrificed so your family can eat, where you can just do anything else instead of just not saying your opinion on it. Like it's severe, like fence sitting, and it's like, oh wow, I can't say anything bad because I can't get any Capcom swag. I can't say anything bad, or I can't go to this event. It's just like, it's so fucking stupid, man. Just say what you want about the game. If you would have said something about Street Fighter 6 during a fucking beta instead of looking at this goddamn jock, things would probably be addressed.
I agree.
Things would probably be fucking addressed. If you would have listened to the people like us who complained about Street Fighter 6 and told you to write it on the wall from week 2, problems would have been addressed. But now we're 3 years in where that game probably costs just as much as it did on launch nowadays through DLC alone, and your game still hasn't changed.
Since the beta. Tekken was always going to be a wildfire.
Tekken 8 is back to basics, but your first character is Kuramitsu.
Who keeps saying back to basics?
That's what the tagline for Tekken 8.
It's a tagline. They don't really care what it is.
What I'm saying is, you're quote unquote back to basics, but your first thing as back to basics is to introduce the most mixed character in Tekken 7?
Well, to be fair, she was in other Tekken games.
Yeah, well, it's our Tekken 7 incarnation.
I like Kitamitsu.
I don't care. You're back to basics. The Tekken 8 has the worst. We can get into all. We can get into DLC. We can get like it's a horror show, and people pretend that it's a golden age. It is a fucking horror show. Not only for viewers, the genre itself. It is a creep show.
And it's not all bad. There are games out here that still exist.
No, I'm saying this in a more mainstream sense.
I'm just saying, there's games out here that still exist. There's plenty of games.
Yeah, there's tons of games.
You don't have to funnel. I'm gonna say this again. I know I say it every time we talk. You do not have to funnel yourself to 3 games. It's a whole buffet out there. We watching DOA 6 right now,
which is a game that got overly shadowed.
I was watching Rukio play Soul Calibur 6. We watch people play Sailor Moon.
And yeah, I wish I had more time to play all these games, but I don't. So but still, yeah, okay. Not all these games have a bunch of players, obviously. But we live in an age where you can link up with them
instantly.
You can talk to these people. It may not be every day, but nobody's asking you to play every day.
It don't have to be a singular fighting game community. We are the community. We dictate what's popular or not. You don't have to sit there and just swallow what's given to us because we dictate.
Well, they want events, they want sponsors, I know. They want money.
But it's just like these movies and shit. It's just like everything else in media. They work for us. Why are you just swallowing bullshit? They don't make money unless we say they make money.
But yeah, we can spit into the ether all we want. It's whatever.
I said a little earlier, I don't know how long you wanted this to run. But, it is what it is.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's ranty, but that's what we do.
Yeah, we ain't ranting a good long time.
All right, then.
All right.
So, this has been the Final Boosh.
And this has been Madhouse.
And we'll see you next time.
See you.
Team cross, buddy. All right.